Guys, I will tell you that no matter what happens on this channel, when I'm talking the Habs, I have certain prospects that I really like, and I will never give up a chance to talk about my boy, Alexander Zharovsky. I am telling you, even before the Montreal Canadiens drafted him, I was like, man, whoever's going to get this guy is going to get a good one. And of course, with the Montreal Canadiens and their excellent management, they went ahead and did that. We are going to be talking about that player. We're going to talk about really bombshell trade rumors in this video, man. Like really surprising stuff that was interesting to me. But guys, welcome back to Pixel Plus Hockey. If you could make sure to hit that subscribe button, it would be so greatly appreciated. And thank you so much to those that are already supporting me as well. It is greatly appreciated. Now, when we talk about Russians and we talk about my favorite Russians, we're going to be talking about Demidov, we're going to be talking about Ovechkin, the guys like that. But I'm telling you, Alexander Zharovsky is a player that, like, I just think is going to be, like, potentially a top 6 player in the NHL. Like, if I was to guess for his talent level right now, I think he's top 6. I think he's going to be able to be a 60-point plus player. I just look at his puck skills, his offensive ability, his skating. He has a bit of size. He has everything. Now, there's a reason that he slipped to the second round, but this is a player with potential. But then when you compare him to a guy like Ivan Demidov, how high of a ceiling do you think Ivan Demidov has? I think that he, in his prime, will be around a 100-point player. Like, that's his ceiling to me. I think in his rookie season, he's probably going to score something like 65 points, which, by the way, is still unbelievable. But, like, this is a player that I see scoring 100 points. But how close, the question is then, how close is Alexander Zharovsky to Ivan Demidov? This is the question of the video. Because even as much as I really like Alexander Zharovsky, there's one guy that might even like him more in Bob Hartley, because we have some really interesting quotes from him about one of my favorite Montreal Canadiens prospects. I mean prospects that aren't Ivan Demidov or Reinbacher or something like that. Quote, "He's a real machine. He's not Demidov, but he's not very far off," close quote. So my boy Bob Hartley here is sending some fastballs right down the middle when it comes to Alexander Zharovsky. I mean, this is a player, like, again, the reason that I'm going to disagree with Bob Hartley here is that I see Ivan Demidov being like essentially an elite player. Like, you know how there's like a first line player, like a 65-point guy that can technically play on a first line, but he's not the driver or the elite player on the line. I see Demidov being that guy. I see Demidov being in like the same era of like a Marner, or not necessarily McDavid, but like lower than that. Like, I see him being a literal superstar, where as much as I like Alexander Zharovsky, I don't see him being that. But we have another really interesting quote. Hartley mentioned that he did his homework and spoke with people who know Zharovsky well to find out what kind of kid he is off the ice, and in that respect, he only heard positive things. We're talking about a guy who works hard and has strong work ethic, close quote. So that is really good too. So he actually has the work ethic as well. And again, he's going to be playing in the KHL this year, so we are going to be seeing what kind of production he has compared to Ivan Demidov's production. So that's really nice, because again, I could be wrong. Maybe if he produces at the same level in the KHL that's similar to Ivan Demidov, like the Habs could have some really good Russians coming up. And this is where, about the trade rumors anyway, that it gets really spicy, because we're not talking only about Alexander Zharovsky. We're not talking only about Ivan Demidov. Not that Crosby is a Russian, but we're not talking only about Sidney Crosby. We have some new, really spicy information from the man himself, Marco D'Amico. And this is where it gets really spicy, that the Habs have been calling on Evgeny Malkin. Like, okay, so let's take a couple of steps back here. When we talk about Evgeny Malkin, he is still like a really good player. Now, Again, when you're talking about an older player like this, you do not want to give up young players. You don't want to give up like a young player, God forbid if I hear Ivan Demidov from Malkin or something silly like that. But this is a player that could be a very good stopgap for you. And can you imagine a all-Russian line or something like that? Can you imagine like a Malkin, Zharovsky, Ivan Demidov line? Now, I don't really know if that line would work that well because, I'm a believer in lines needing a good mix. So essentially you need a guy that's willing to play in the guts of the game, the guy that's skilled but also willing to get the puck. That's why I almost see a Bolduc working well with Ivan Demidov. I really, really think that that's going to be a good balance line, and then like a good center, two-way center like Suzuki. I've always said that a Suzuki, Ivan Demidov, Bolduc line, I think that would look good, but then what do you do on the other lines as well? Because you're kind of stuck with Kirby Dach there. I mean, I understand the Habs wanted to get like a Mason McTavish or a center, but as we know, this franchise is continually trying to get that centerman that they need, and now we know that they are calling Pittsburgh not only about Crosby probably, but about Evgeny Malkin. Now, if I was to pick one of the two, I'm going to tell you right now, I would obviously prefer Sid the Kid. And that's mostly because, number one, I think Sidney Crosby is the better player, of course. I just think he's a step above Evgeny Malkin. But also the nostalgia. I would prefer him coming in place of Malkin because, we know Crosby has a nostalgic place for the Montreal Canadiens. It was the team that he grew up cheering for. So that would kind of be like a really, really good story. But if they aren't able to get Crosby, I'm telling you right now, Malkin would be a pretty good option for them as a stopgap until they get a younger center that is available, but we will have to see. It's kind of interesting, though, because if the Pittsburgh Penguins are taking calls on Malkin and they're actually answering the calls, because again, the way D'Amico's talking right now is that Pittsburgh's listening to offers. They're listening to offers on this player. So if Malkin is out the door, that kind of opens the door for Crosby or that team to completely blow it up. Do you understand what I mean? Like, you're not taking calls on a player like that unless the number one, the superstar, is okay with that. So Evgeny Malkin must be talking with the franchise and say, guys, I'm okay with moving on. I think that maybe Crosby might not be okay with it right now, but I think that that is going to change. I'm telling you, if the Pittsburgh Penguins struggle in this season, which I think that they will struggle in this season, I think that Pittsburgh is in full blow-it-up mode, and man, the Montreal Canadiens should be circling around this team like vultures because they have two centers that are really good and one that was a boyhood Montreal Canadiens fan, if you know what I mean. Anyways, guys, I am going to leave this video here. Just wanted to touch on Zharovsky, and I also wanted to touch on Crosby, Pittsburgh, and Malkin. If you could make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.